Did I ever get any serious injuries while being a bouncer? I got stabbed a couple of times, but they weren't serious. I got headbutt one time, made me look like a unicorn for a couple of days. I had boxed. I was a boxer. Did some jujitsu. Like, this was before that was all super popular. So for the first like 4 or 5 years that I was bouncing, I was just like styling on people. If that, I was not really like, I've never been a fan of. I never felt good after like injuring someone, except for a couple of times. Like, a couple of guys really deserved it, but those felt okay. But yeah, man, like hitting people and physical violence is like, I was bullied as a kid. So there was a time where I like overdid it. Like, I was choking people out for no reason and shit. Like, I was a bully for a while. And it's like finding a new superpower. Like, once you, like, when you've been bullied a long time and then finally you've been hitting the gym, you've been going to classes, you're doing all this other stuff. It was never with the intention to, like, you know, become that. But I did for a while. And once I recognized that, I never hit. I remember this one guy. Actually, no, the last guy I ever really hurt really deserved it. Like, really deserved it. He was like this toxic, like one of the most venomous people I've ever met. And he still sticks with me because of just how much hate he just exuded, this hatefulness. He was racist. He was sexist. He was aggressive to anyone and everybody around him. He was just this. His name was Chris, and he was a couple years ahead of me in high school. And either he was a horrible drunk or just a really, really shitty human being. And this is the type of guy that had been going his whole life just being this way to everyone, because most people he came into contact with, he was so overly aggressive, and he honestly, like, there was a moment when I interacted with him the first time that I was a little bit intimidated as well. And I kick him out of this bar one time. And that's when I first saw it, because I was like, hey, Chris, like, you got to get out of here, dude. Like, you're the waitress. Like, he had said some horrible shit to the waitresses. He was talking shit to the manager. And I came up and I was like, hey, you're Chris, right? He's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, dude, you gotta go home, man. Like, this is out of control. Like, you're embarrassing yourself. He's like, I'll embarrass you, all this other stuff. And he gets in my face. I drag his ass out of the bar. His girlfriend's with him, and she's getting mad at me, and, you know, or not really getting mad, but she's like mad at the situation. And I kick him out, and he leaves eventually after saying a bunch of shit. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, pound sand, whatever type of thing. Like, it wasn't going anywhere as far as I was concerned. Next week, Saturday night, super busy. I see the guy in the line, and I don't often remember people. Like, I often wouldn't remember people I kicked out of bars, but I remembered him immediately. I was like, nope, you're not coming. I pointed at him, like, down the line. I was like, you're not coming in. Just a heads up, like a courtesy. Like, you're not coming in. But he then decides that he's gonna make it a problem. So he you know, starts calling me out, calling me a pussy and all this other stuff. And I was just like, I was like, believe it or not, like, I'm very good at trash talking people. So I'm just making fun of this guy nonstop. And he pushes past the line, and he's like saying all this stuff to me. And he's getting in my face. And I was like, listen, bro, I'm going to go inside. You're going to relax, take a breath, and you just go home, all right? Because it's not going anywhere. You're not coming in. I don't care what you have to say. Bye-bye. He pushes past my buddy Troy, who is like a world-destroying level Muay Thai kickboxer. One time I like fake kicked at Troy, and he blocked it with his shin, and I thought I broke my leg. And he pushes past Troy, and he's now between us in the doors. So we have like the entryway, and it's cold outside. It's wintertime. We have the entryway, and we have the interior to the bar. So we have B-Ray, the manager, myself, and Troy in this little space. And he is going at me, like verbally. And he's like, I'll kill you. I'll do all this other stuff. Like, I'll kill you. I'll do all these. Jesus. He's saying all this stuff, and he's like, I'll your mother, like all this shit. And I was like, dude, you got about 30 seconds to get out of this door before I put you through that glass window. And it's always a threat. I'm never gonna like just attack somebody, right? But he head fakes me, and he does one of those, and that was enough for me considering the previous interactions that he was gonna step. And I freaking hit him with the hardest elbow I've ever thrown in my entire life. And you don't ever punch someone that close because they're way too close. You can't hit them very well. And I hit him, and I hit him again, like with a left afterwards. So I hit him on the way down. And I didn't realize, like his girlfriend was outside watching this happen, and she didn't make a sound. She was just like, yep. And like he gets up afterwards and starts like calling me out, and like everybody saw what happened. It was on camera, all that other stuff, and he's calling me out or whatever, like come out. And I step outside the bar, and I'm like, I can see his face just going like, bloop. And I was like, Chris, I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. I'm gonna call the cops, and then I'm calling an ambulance because I'm pretty sure that you're really hurt. And I started to get nervous. Like I was like, oh shit. Like this guy might be like minutes from death or something. Like he might be seconds from just like having a brain hemorrhage and dying. Like people don't understand just how fragile humans are, especially when it comes to head trauma. I've seen people die like just by accident. One guy slipped and cracked his face off a curb, dead. One guy took a freaking toilet lid to the back of the head, dead. So I was like, oh my God, I'm actually getting nervous talking about it right now. So he decides like, no, I'm not staying for the cops. And he takes off, which was okay. But he calls up the bar the next day, and I broke his orbital bone. Like on his right side of his face. I knocked out 4 of his molars and two of his like canine teeth, like with the side I hit him with the elbow. I f***ed him up really bad. And he had a black eye on the other side when I hit him with the straight. But the cops called me next. And that's when I was like, I'm going to jail because I really messed him up. Like, you can't work, you can't do this, you can't do that. And like, we need a statement. And I was like, oh no, dude, I'm effed. And cops call me up again, and luckily I had a pretty good relationship with the police, mainly because I was doing loss prevention and bouncing at the same time. So like I had really dealt with the district cops a lot, and they didn't know me to be like a super violent dude, but I had a couple of things at that bar that were kind of enough to say that there's a history with this dude, because you get into fights as a bouncer. It happens a lot. People report shit when they get their asses kicked. And anyway, luckily the guy was such a piece of shit to both me and everybody else that shit. But he was an asshole to the cops. He was trash talking the cops, dude. Like, you should do this, you should do that. And they were like, you know what? This guy. We have enough to say that he was the aggressor. We have the camera footage. I don't care what the injuries were. F this guy, type of thing. And that's the end of that. But I saw a photo of him a little while later, like a couple of years later. He doesn't look the same. He doesn't look the same anymore. So I don't feel good about it. It's not, and that's why I don't like telling bouncing stories, is because a lot of them kind of sound like that. You know, they're just, I don't miss that shit. I actually sometimes have like anxiety nightmares about having to go back and do that stuff again, because it's just, it was fun for a couple of years until you're like put in a situation like that and you're like, oh right, this sucks. So do not recommend. Stay in school, kids. Did it ever pan anyone? No, but I got hit with bottles a lot. Oh my god. That's reported. Reported. Should write a book. That book would be boring. Some days I think it would be fun to do like a stand-up, like comedy or something like that. Because most of my stories are supposed to be comedic. They're not supposed to be like, I'm a serious badass. That's kind of not what I'm about personally. Because the reality is that most of us we were all in college or doing something else, not really. Like the career bouncers that I knew were all losers. Let me rephrase that. I mean, societally, like from a society perspective, yes, they were all actually kind of losers. The one thing that I would never trade in bouncing for when it came to bouncing was the personal skills I learned. The personal skills like being able to talk to people, having difficult conversations, resolving arguments without getting flustered, that kind of stuff. Because like I never had that experience. I was a nerd. Like a big nerd. I like my first girlfriend, I had to break up with her. The reason I became a bouncer was because that was what she said to me. First of all, she said, I need to get a second job so we can move out together. And when I said, well, with my school and my daytime work schedule, the only thing that I think might be a good idea, since I know guys that I box with, they work as bouncers. She's like, if you become a bouncer, I'm breaking up with you because I don't want bitches hitting on you all the time. And I was like, excuse me, what? What was that about the bitches hitting on me? Because I was not a guy that getting hit on. Like all the time when I wasn't working or going to the gym, I was playing WoW, which was like basically a second job, because I was like in a raiding guild in Burning Crusade. Did he see me? Negative. Did not see me. When did he see me? Sir, keep your head up. So yeah, so I was like, hello bouncer people, yeah, can I start today? I was on that like white on rice. And then she didn't live up to her promise, so I ended up breaking up with her, and that's the end of that. Dude, my first day of bouncing, I had like done a bunch of research. Like I was reading about like bouncer stories and bouncer techniques and bouncer forums and all this other stuff. Like I thought it was like I was about to enter into a world of very special skills, you know, like I was John Wick or something. So I roll up on my first day. All the guys are standing around the front door, and I'm just kind of awkwardly standing off to one side, and they're talking about the night before and whatever else and what to look out for and all this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, I read this thing online, something about like, if you expect to come home unscathed, you won't come home at all, or something like that. And they're like, what the f did you just say? They all just walked away from me. I was like, yeah, okay, samurai quotes not your thing, that's all right. I guess I'll just file these papers I had prepared. Is this a free crate? Negative. It's a little late in the game, I guess. Weighs a Mark 14. Damn, we're in the top 12? This is an enormous circle for the top 12. Holy moly. I'm trying to check my map without getting exploded. Alright, I'm in the center. And now I'm going to this compound to try and win the game. Oh yeah, Roadhouse was very quoted in the circles, but I didn't like Roadhouse. I thought Roadhouse was a stupid movie, dude. I was like, is he doing karate in the freaking woods, dude? Muffin Main, thank you for the brand new sub. Ruler of all bovines, thank you for the resub to 4 months. Oof. Careful, young fella. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can push this guy basically for free, I think. Unless there's people in the houses that are about to kill me. Oh my god. Another M16 guy. I want the crate. Very blessed. Very blessed. Oof. That's the Mark 14 guy, I'm pretty sure. Oh, goodness. One died of the zone. I don't know how far I want to push over this way. Maybe a little further. There's just lots of rocks and stuff behind him. I want to get this Mark 14 guy out of here ASAP. Shit, where did that happen? I need to use my arm. Like, I don't want to battle this guy with the Mark 14 up close. There he goes. It's the flash hider, by the way. Jesus. One's in the house, one's, I believe, out back. I'm gonna go all the way down and around so he can't see me. Okay. High probabilities here, I think. Just gotta worry about nades. Couldn't see him. Didn't see where he was. Couldn't see anything. I didn't know where it landed. Really good gameplay mechanics, right? It's like, what can you do? I guess I should have stayed out in the open, but it's just like, what do? You can't do anything. You don't see where it comes from. It's like getting hit with freaking lightning. You know, like, what can you do? Like, nades are just so like overpowered.